What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Zach Fry, also known as Coding King, and today I'm going to be starting a series of tutorials that will improve your skills in programming, specifically in VisualBasic.net. We'll be using Microsoft's Visual Studio for the next couple tutorials. So today I'm going to be showing you, or in this tutorial I mean, I'll be showing you how to download and how to use Microsoft Visual Studio. So the download link will be in the description along with the requirements. So just go ahead and click on the link and you'll come to a screen a little bit like this. And what you're going to do is click install now. So we'll bring up our link. Just open up the link, click run. And you can exit it out of your web browser if you'd like. Okay, so now we have a screen like this. So click I agree. You don't have to join the customer experience, that's just something you can if you'd like. And then click next. And here's some features you can also choose to install. I'm just going to keep all of them. You know, they're probably going to help me in the long term, so we'll just click install. Yes. No. Okay. So it's creating a system restore point. And what that is so in case something bad happens, like if this were to mess up something, which it won't, you can actually go back, pretty much like go back in time to this very moment where you're not installing it, but just like the time before you clicked like the install, just in case something if were to bad to happen, if maybe you didn't have enough memory and it like crashed your computer, and that's not going to happen, but it's just being safe. Usually it won't let you download or install if you don't have enough memory. It's just doing that just in case something bad happens, which is pretty smart. So this might take a while, so I'm probably going to just pause the video until all this is done, because depending on your computer speed or how much memory you have on your computer, it's going to change in time. So it can take 10 minutes, it can take a couple hours. So I'm just gonna pause the video, and you can too. So whenever this is done, I'll just resume it. Alright, now that our Visual Studio is done, we're gonna have to restart it. So just go ahead and click restart now, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Alright, so once you've restarted your computer, it's actually going to install some more things. So once that's done, it'll actually ask you to launch Microsoft Visual Studio. So once you do that, it's going to ask you to clarify. I should have recorded this part, but it'll ask you to clarify like what type of application or what kind of coding you'll be using. From there, you'll just select Visual Basic. You'll see it on the list. Just select Visual Basic and just click next or whatever, or launch, and then this little screen will pop up right here and it'll be loading. It'll just give you the correct settings that are, it's applying settings that you've chosen. In this case we're using Visual Basic, so, and you may not know this, but you can do like Visual C# and all that stuff, but we'll be doing VB.NET or Visual Basic. So I'm just going to pause this. Alright, so Microsoft Visual Studio is opened. So we have everything. Go ahead and click File, New Project. And then Visual Basic, Windows, and then a Windows Forms application. You can rename your project anything you would like. I'm just going to name it Project 1. So here we're not actually going to create a program, but I'm just going to show you around a little bit. Some things there's a lot of things on here, but there's only a selected amount that you should know for right now. So once you've done that, go ahead and click Toolbox on your left here, and click this little pin, and I'll pin it down. And you can bring this out a little bit more so you can see the names. So here we go. Here's everything. Here's all Windows Forms right here. Here's your application right here. This is what it'll look like. So you can resize this. And at the bottom right, you'll see your properties menu. This is where you can change some settings for your application, your form, and the object or control that you have selected. So if I were to add a button onto our form, see the properties menu automatically changes towards because I've selected a different thing. You can go back and forth. So form 1, button. So let's just take a look. Okay, I'll delete this real quick. And as you can see before, it was just as simple as clicking wherever you want, and there goes the button. Okay, or you can pick it and then draw it. There goes your button. But it gives you a pretty good size if you just click. And you can move this around your form a little bit. So let's take a look at the properties menu. Okay. At the top you see the name. Now the name is what this control or object is referred to in its coding. So if we were to change the button's background color, we'd have to start out by saying button 1 dot and then go with coding. If you select our form real quick right here, you go to the top, you'll see accept button right here. Where is it? Right here. Now if we select button 1, that means anytime you press enter while the form is selected, then it will be the same as clicking button 1. See how it's highlighted? So select the button again. Take a look at more. Now a lot of these are self-explanatory. You got the background color. You can change the background color of it. You have the forecolor. You can change that. You have, let's see here, the cursor, what kind of cursor you want when it's hovering over it. Let's see. Yeah, the text, you can change the text on here. There's a lot of things you can do. Like I said, they're generally self-explanatory, and if you have any questions on them, go ahead and comment below, because this is probably a pretty long video, and I'm probably going to separate it into separate parts. So I can't go over everything, So if you have any questions, just comment below, and I'll get back to you and answer them. But like I just said, generally self-explanatory. Same with the toolbox over here. You got a whole bunch of stuff that you can add, like where's text box right here. You can just add text box, and you can generally do the same things to it. Okay, the debug button up here, I guess it's called the start button in 2012. If you click that, it'll actually debug your program or test it, just to see where it's at with everything. So if we were to minimize Visual Studio, then we have our program right here. Okay, anytime you want to stop, just click this little red button here, and the blue button is pause. You can also add Windows Forms to your application. So if I were to go to project, add, you can actually add a lot of things, but if we were to add this, we can add another Windows form. We can change from here to here. Okay, let's take a look at the forms property, and then we'll probably be done. I just want to show you a variation of settings, because the button will probably be the same as a lot of the other controls. But the form, anytime, first let me just say this, If you're talking about the form itself when you're doing its coding, so if I were to add another button, and when I click this button, I want the form's background color to be something. I wouldn't call it form 1, even though that's the name of the object. We'd call it me, because me stands for um, the the control itself that you're on. So in this case, it'd be the form. It's not for all buttons, all controls. It's just for the form. So anytime you're on the form itself, you're gonna refer to it as me. But if I had the form 2 here, I would just call it form 2. Anytime you want to go to an object's coding, you just double click it. But we'll just go over the settings real quick, or the properties menu in the form. So generally, text, again, that's on all of them, or on a lot of them, I should say. Start position, you can choose where you want the application to start when it's opened. You can do show icon, so you can see right over here the icon's going away, coming back just by true and false. Maximize box, if you set that to false, the user is incapable of maximizing the form. You can do icon, you can do background image up here, background color, for color, that pretty much just change all the for color on the form. I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So it's going to change the button for color. See, just everything on the form is that color. So the name, you can always change that. I mean, it's just what that's going to be referred to into its coding. But in this case, if you're on this form, it's not going to matter unless you're on a different form. So I could change this. If we were to make this button say click, sometimes it can kind of get confusing if you have a lot of buttons on. We could just say click button. So now it's referred to as click button. There's a lot of things I could show you, but I'm just going to show you a general amount. And in our next tutorial, or one of our next tutorials, we'll be going into the coding, and I'll be showing some stuff. I believe the next tutorial, well, our first tutorial, this wasn't really a tutorial, it's just setting up and showing you. But our first tutorial will be going over if and then statements, which is going to be used a lot during your application's coding. So in that, I'll show you some coding. We'll go over a little bit more. So hopefully you guys understand generally what this is. You can always go around and mess with some stuff. And of course, if you have any questions, just I'd be glad to answer. I'm not going to ignore you at all. That's not what I do. I'm here to help you and provide you with tutorials to make your understanding of Visual Studio better. Okay, so go ahead, mess around a little bit, and once you're ready, just click on the second, or our first tutorial. Actually, I keep saying second, but because it's our second video. But click on our first tutorial, and we'll go into some general coding. Thank you guys for watching.